What if the world's most sought-after relic never actually left Britain? Deep within the green, rolling hills of Somerset lies a town cloaked in legend, Glastonbury. It's a place where myth and history blur into one, where the very soil seems to breathe with secrets. Beneath its ancient Abbey ruins and the mist that rises from the iconic Tor, whispers tell of a treasure hidden since the time of Christ. The Holy Grail itself. The church may call it a myth, and the faithful may call it truth, but the ground here holds secrets that simply refuse to die. This story takes a sharp turn in 1191. Monks at Glastonbury Abbey claim to have discovered the tomb of King Arthur and Queen Guinevere. At the time, many dismissed it as a clever piece of theater, a fundraising stunt. Yet, the discovery revived the Abbey's fortunes almost overnight. But behind the celebrated legend of the once and future king, another story was unfolding, one far too dangerous to be recorded openly. Hidden manuscripts, sealed away in the Vatican archive, hinted something more. They suggest the excavation unearthed not just bones, but a vessel. It was described as being wrapped in lead and marked with a cross of Byzantine design. The monks wrote that it shone with an inner light and was moved in silence to the north wall. After that cryptic line, the chronicle ends abruptly. Pages are missing. The ink looks as if it were deliberately burned. What happened to the object they found? What was so important, it had to be erased from history? Over the centuries that followed, Glastonbury Abbey would burn not once, but twice. Each time, historical records were lost, and each time, the legends surrounding the site only grew stronger. Even today, in the shadow of the Tor, pilgrims speak of a strange glow that sometimes emanates from the ground on cold, clear nights, as if something buried deep below still breathes, still holds a faint, sacred light. The oldest local traditions connect Glastonbury directly to the crucifixion. It's said that Joseph of Arimathea, the man who buried Christ, sailed to these shores carrying the cup that caught his blood at the cross. Legend says he planted his staff in the earth of Wiriel Hill, and it miraculously blossomed into the Glastonbury Holy Thorn. For centuries, that tree bloomed in the dead of winter, a symbol of faith defying the seasons. It was eventually cut down by those who called the story blasphemy, a sacrilege. But even today, new shoots grow from the ancient roots, as if the life force in that soil simply refuses to be extinguished. Modern science has only deepened the mystery. Archaeologists speak of ritual pits and undocumented chambers beneath the Abbey grounds, places that no one is officially allowed to open. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed strange voids directly beneath the sanctuary, sealed in lead. The official explanation: they're just old drains. But the alignment of these voids perfectly matches the sacred geometry of the nearby Chalice Well, a natural spring whose waters run red. The redness comes from a high concentration of iron, but legend says it's colored by the blood of Christ, from the Grail hidden nearby. For thousands of years, this spring has never run dry. Chemical tests find no contamination, only a mineral balance so unique it defies the local geology. In medieval texts, the water was called living wine, and pilgrims drank it, believing it granted visions and healing. Could this have been a veiled description of contact with the Grail itself, its power infusing the water? Even the Abbey's official seals seem to hide a clue in plain sight. They bear a hidden symbol, a chalice nestled inside a circle of thorns. This design was carved centuries before the Grail legend was made public. Is that just a coincidence or a deliberate code? The mystery doesn't end in the distant past. The classified wartime files reveal that during World War II, British intelligence took a sudden, intense interest in Glastonbury. MI5 quietly surveyed the Tor for what they called archaeological security reasons. But why would a national intelligence agency care about a local myth during a world war? Locals from that time remember seeing soldiers digging by moonlight, loading heavy crates into trucks bound for London. After they left, the Abbey vaults were never the same. Some researchers believe the Grail was secretly removed and taken to Portendown, the UK's top-secret military science park, for scientific analysis. Others insist it remains beneath the Tor, guarded by a temporal, secret order linked to the church. The landscape itself seems to be part of the code. The Glastonbury Zodiac is a vast, ancient pattern of earthworks, and field boundaries, mapping out constellations across miles of countryside. It's a celestial map, so large it's only visible from the sky. And what lies at its very center? Chalice Hill. And the chalice swelled the heart of the entire cosmic circle. When Masurad, the key angles of this landscape align perfectly with the sun at the summer solstice and the constellation of Aquariesta. Every symbol both in the sky and on the earth points to a sacred vessel. Is this all just coincidence? Or is it a forgotten form of cartography? A map of faith, secret societies throughout British history from the Knights, Templar to the Rosicrucians and Freemasons all contain references in their esoteric texts to a well of light located beneath the Tor. The Templars themselves vanished from the historical stage in 1312, their treasures confiscated by the crown. Yet, records show a small, defiant group fled to Somerset. A rare document, hidden away in the British Library, bears their seal and the cryptic words, "Our Lady of the Cup is safe." Centuries later, during the Reformation, Henry VIII dissolved the monasteries. Glastonbury's last abbot, Richard Whiting, was brutally executed, hanged on the Tor for refusing to surrender the Abbey's property to the king. Legend says his defiant last words were, "The chalice is not yours." The site of his execution aligns with impossible precision on an axis that connects to the chalice well in the Abbey. Some call it chance. Others see it as a deliberate, final statement, written in blood and sacrifice. Beneath all the layers of religion, paganism, and empire, Glastonbury remains a magnet for those seeking something that cannot be easily named. Dowsers, who claim to sense subtle earth energies, report that powerful currents meet directly beneath the Tor, like veins of living power. Even NASA has contributed to the puzzle. Satellite infrared maps show unexplained heat patterns in that exact location, as if something deep within the hill is still radiating energy. The church maintains a resolute silence. Tour guides call it all a beautiful legend, but government files, currently classified until the year 2050, are labeled with the intriguing title, Artifact Transfer Protocols Glastonbury. When those documents are finally opened, what truth will finally surface? Perhaps the Holy Grail isn't a physical cup at all. Perhaps it's a code, a vessel of knowledge hidden in plain sight, waiting for us to become wise enough to understand it. Every generation that searches for it seems to reveal a piece of itself, a reflection of its own hopes and fears. Maybe the real secret of Glastonbury is that true faith and forbidden truth have always been the same thing. And so, when night falls over the Tor and the wind moves through the grass like a breath from another world, it's worth listening closely, because the earth, there's still whispers of a cup that was never truly found, and a truth that was never really lost. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into one of history's greatest mysteries. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. See you next time.